The Holdovers is generally a good film, and I do have a lot of praise for it, but I don't agree with the many very high ratings. If other people absolutely love it, that's absolutely fine, but I really can't rate it as high as some people, and I will talk more about this in a moment. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Alexander Payne. It's written by David Hemmingson, and we have a cast including Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and Dominic Sessa, and various others. We have some really great performances. First of all, first thing to praise, the performances are brilliant. This is also a multi-award winning film. It has won many, many awards. It had Oscar nominations. Divine Joy Randolph actually won the Oscar for Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role, which absolutely I'm on board with. Many, many other awards. It has 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb across 199,000 reviews and ratings. That's a phenomenal score. It has a meta score of 82. I'm saying all of this because it seems like many people absolutely love it. For me, I thought it was fine. So I'm not going to give it the most glowing review, but I wanted to make those ratings known so that I don't discourage anybody from watching it if you had considered it and then you don't hear me giving it the most glowing review. I'd say still check it out. There's a very strong chance you'll like it more than I did. This is set in the 70s. It's about a teacher at a boarding school who's not the most likable individual, but he is forced to spend Christmas break with students who aren't able to go home for the holidays and various other people. And in doing so, they get to know him, he gets to know them, and we find out more about the characters as they learn more about each other, which I think works really, really well. And as a concept, I really like it. I think it's a really great premise. I think the execution is absolutely fine. It is too long. It's well over 2 hours, and it doesn't need to be. It could have been comfortably an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40. There's definitely a lot of slowness in this, and plenty of times when I was kind of wishing it would hurry up and get to the next point. Not that I needed an action-packed narrative, but we have not the most interesting dialogue for a lot of it. We do have some really great discussions and some really heartfelt moments and meaningful moments, particularly as we find out things about the characters. But in between them, it's very slow. The narrative isn't moving forward and the dialogue isn't always brilliant. So in those moments, and there are quite a lot of those moments, it just feels quite stale. But the good bits in between are really good. So if they'd just taken out a lot of the fluff, it could have been a really solid, powerful story with, honestly, no dips. Most films will dip here and there, and if it had a couple, it's fine. But for me, there are too many dips where the quality just drops, and whether that's the quality in storytelling, how fascinating the dialogue is, it just dips too many times for me to really look at that really high rating and understand where it comes from. But again, as I said, if other people absolutely love it, I'm totally okay with that. But personally, I found it to be above average, but not amazing. I like the concept. The execution could be a lot better. The characters are very well written, though. I think the characters are fantastic. I think the performances are brilliant. And I think partly they had a great script to work with. The dialogue in some places is very good. Some aspects of the narrative is good. The pacing of the overall story is not the best, but the pacing of how long it takes us to find out information about the characters is very effective. They're obviously not just giving us all of this information at once. It's a journey of discovery, and I think that part of it is very steadily paced, and that's quite satisfying. But the rest of it, it's fine. I don't really have any complaints apart from the fact that it's way longer than it needs to be to tell this story. And if they'd tightened that up a little bit, I might have been slightly more understanding of that very high score. But for me, there are just not enough brilliant elements to agree with a 7.9 out of 10. But definitely, it's not a terrible film. Visually, it's quite gorgeous. I think the setting works really well. It's very nice to look at. Definitely, visually, a very satisfying film. The costumes look great. I don't know if they're 100% accurate, but I'm going to just assume that they are because I've not heard anything to the contrary. It's filmed in quite a few different schools, actually, around Massachusetts, which is quite interesting. It's filmed in schools in Groton, Fairhaven, Deerfield, lots of different places, which is quite cool. I think they made a great use of the space. Definitely works very, very well. So there are a lot of positives, and the performances are fabulous. But the narrative needed some work. Great concept, reasonably well executed, but take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because as I said, it seems to be very, very well loved by a lot of people. And if that's the case, that's fabulous. There are many films that I love that many people don't like. So I don't think it's a bad thing, or I don't think it's unreasonable to have a score that high. Just from my perspective, I don't necessarily agree with it. But nevertheless, The Holdovers is a very good film, and I am happy to recommend it. I wouldn't watch it a second time, but as a one-time watch, it was a good experience. And if you're curious, I would definitely say that it's one that's worth checking out.